So you guys are going to go into InDesign and you're going to make a new document, 8.5 by 11. You can do a lot of these here, but I'm going to do it once we open this because it's going to be 2 pages. And then you can add your margins here. For a magazine, probably about a 1/2 inch is good. And you can always adjust those later. And then you can even add a bleed if you want to. So do you guys know what a bleed is? A bleed is like if something's being printed all the way to the end, that you actually bleed the images over, or any color or any background. So then when it gets trimmed, you have like that clean edge. So most places you will be printing these will not be able to print them with bleeds for you. So it's totally acceptable for you guys to print these out with like a 1/4 inch margin around them. If you guys want to cut it down a little bit, they can be a little bit smaller than the finished size I gave you, but not too much smaller. Like, don't take advantage of that. But if you guys print it out on 11 by 17 paper and then you trim it so that it goes all the way to the edge instead of having the margin that most printers would have, that's okay.
Wait, so it's 11 by 17, not 17 by 11?
17, so it's always width first, but I just always say 11 by 17. This video is going to be a little bit long, but that's okay. Okay, so we have our page, and we have our 2 pages. So see right here, guys, where this little arrow is, you want to turn off these 2 settings, allow document pages to shuffle, and allow selected page spread to shuffle, and then you can pull yours together, and you have the spread. And it's really, that's all you do. And now you have the spread. And again, the reason we do this is so now I can go up to layout, margins, and columns. And I can set my columns. And I don't have to continually pull guides over. So you guys can decide what types of columns, how many columns you want to use, what the gutter you think needs to be depending on the text that you choose. I'm going to go with 4. And I'm going to keep my margins at 1/2, and I'm going to just bump up the gutter a little bit. So from there, now you guys can add your text to these, and you can create style sheets, and you can just work on your layout. So I'm going to bring in just the dummy copy, just copying it over. And I'm just going to repeat this a couple times so that I have more text. So see this little red arrow? If your text goes over, you just click on that and you put it down, and then it fits it perfectly in your column. So if you have columns already set up, it will automatically fit the next text box to those columns. So see, if this is overset text, you just click here and it puts it in the column for you. And then if I delete this, it goes back here. So you don't lose your text. So you guys don't have to copy and keep pasting the text in based on how you want it to move. Use the resources in the program for you. And then you can highlight the whole thing. So this would be your body text, the body of the article that has all the stuff. This is not the headline, this is just the body copy. And then you can change the properties of this. You can just pick your fonts. Think about the typography lesson and what fonts are good for big chunks of text. I'm just going to go with something simple. It's at 12 point. I generally think 10 is a good body copy size. Older audiences may feel that 12 is better. I think 10 looks the best. It's not too big, not too small. You guys, this is where you get to practice all your typography things like the leading, or if we have paragraphs here, you can do paragraph spacing, and that would be over here. And then you can set style sheets for this if you want to. Let's see, is it open here? No, window. styles, paragraph styles, and then you can add this and you can label it body or whatever you want to label it, and then it'll stay. So if you decide you want to add more text later, then you have it. That would be something really useful if you're creating a full magazine where you're going to be doing this over and over again. Luckily in this scenario, it's just one spread, so you don't really have to create style sheets because you're not going to be repeating these styles over and over, but it's something useful to know how to do. So then you would do your headline. See where everything is at. I'm just arbitrarily making stuff, guys, so that you can see how InDesign works. But if you want to make your headline in Illustrator, then you go up to File and Place, and then you would go find that file on your desktop, and then you'd go back to Illustrator to edit it, and it would automatically update here. Wrapping text. Let's see. Let's go back to this dog that we love so much because he's a nice isolated image. So I always like to redraw like what I want to wrap. If it's a shape, then you can see what it defaults to. Let me see, window, text wrap. So did you guys see that? You go up to, if you can't find something, go up to your windows and it means you just have to turn it on. So I want this text, again, layers. I'm going to put the dog on his own layer so that he doesn't get in my way. I'm going to lock it. And then I'm going to bring my text over and this is a bad example because you wouldn't want your text to go through the gutter, so I'll do it properly. And I'll bring over my text. And let's see, maybe I want him to be a little smaller so that more text can wrap around. So this text wrap tool is pretty cool. If you have anything that's a circle or a simple shape that you want to wrap, you just click one of those settings and it does it for you. But if you have something like this dog that's a complex shape, what I usually do is I lock my image, and then with the pen tool, again, our good friend the pen tool, I actually trace around, and it doesn't have to be super precise because it's not going to matter. The text is going to break and flow the way that the words are going to go. So it can just be a really nice swooping line, but still something that has more shape than just a circle or a square. So I usually like to go all the way down to the bottom, and then at the bottom I just square it off. And then again, swoop around the head. And now I have this line that it's following the shape of the dog. I usually turn off the stroke because you don't want to see it, but if you need to see where you drew this, you can always turn it back on. So now it's just this outline, and then that is what I wrap. See how easy that was? Did you see it do it? Goes over, and then it wraps around. And then this is where, let me turn off the framed edges. So this is where you want to kind of play around to see what looks good. So maybe you need a little bit more space between the dog while it's wrapping. and that's where you play with the individual settings within there. Or you can also move your type around to see how much you want. See right there, these are things you want to avoid, how that gapped. So you either go through and you readjust your, like the trace you made, or you adjust your type. But the words, the length of the words and the shape aren't working together properly, so you need to make adjustments because you don't want jumps like that in your text. You want it to look like this where it just flows really cohesively. And again, remember, in the examples, gosh, this mouse. Getting something to look this precise is actually pretty tricky. You have to really adjust the different type settings to get it to look so good without gaps and things like that in the type. But it's totally possible. You guys can do it. Drop cap. If anyone wants to do a drop cap, that is a setting. Let me find it. I believe it's this one. Nope. Is it? Okay, set that back to 0. I'll find it. I haven't used this computer much, so I don't know where the settings are. Oh yeah, it is this one. See? Just hover on something. I don't know why it's not working. But we'll figure it out. So here's a good lesson in, like, even sometimes I don't know what I'm doing and I have to figure it out. You guys could do a drop cap just like you used with the dog by wrapping a text box. So like, say I did want to add a drop cap here, and you just do it like this, and again, take the stroke off, and then add your letter. Oops. One thing to keep in mind, if you're going to do something like this, so I have my L right there, right? Watch what happens when I pull it over. It goes away because it's wrapping. So then you have to go to Object. Oops. Sorry, guys. Text Frame Options. Ignore Text Wrap. And it comes back. So that's one way to do it if you want more control. Sometimes it just works better. This setting should totally do it for you. I'll figure out why that wasn't working and what I was doing wrong. But yeah. Any other questions or things you guys want to know how to do? No? Okay. I'm going to turn off the recording.